Great. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, and see my slides? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. So I'm Jamie McConnell. I'm the Deputy Director at Women's Voices for the Earth, and I've been working on salon issues for, gosh, I think about 15 years now. I was at the original research convening 13 years ago, which doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but 13 years ago with a lot of the folks that are participating today. And just want to thank you for inviting me to be on this panel and for the other presentations. So thank you. So just briefly, let me just forward the slide. So Women's Voices for the Earth, we've been working on salon health and safety issues for about 15 years or so. And in particular, we focus on eliminating toxic chemicals that are used in professional salon products, as well as increasing disclosure of ingredients and to give salon workers the right to know what they're being exposed to in these products. So just to kind of take us back to, why are we even talking about harmful chemicals in professional salon products? Jan, in her presentation, was mentioning some of the testing that they have done that have detected harmful chemicals. So in personal care and salon products. So why is this happening? And part of the reason, or a large part of the reason, is a lack of regulation or safety requirements for cosmetics and professional salon products. This I included in the screen. You can see here this document. It's maybe almost 2 pages long. The Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. This is the section that regulates cosmetics. You can see that it's not very long, it's not very robust, and it hasn't been updated in over 80 years. And when we talk about the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act, Cosmetics Act, it includes professional salon products. So when you say cosmetic or professional salon products, they're regulated in the same way. So basically, what happens is we have a system that allows harmful ingredients to be used in professional salon products. There are no requirements that ingredients that are used in professional salon products have to meet any kind of safety standard, which is concerning because professional salon workers are exposed to these chemicals and are using these products for, multiple days a week for multiple hours in the day. A great example is the use of formaldehyde in hair straighteners like Brazilian blowout. Formaldehyde is a known carcinogen. There are no questions about that. But under our current regulatory system, formaldehyde is legally allowed in hair straighteners. It's legally allowed in nail polish like toluene and dibutyl phthalate, or the toxic trio, that have known health impacts. So as a result of this weak law, ingredients linked to cancer, infertility, and birth defects, and other reproductive harm can be used in products, professional salon products. The other problem is there is no federal requirement requiring that ingredients used in professional salon products appear on the label of that professional salon product. So if you went into, a Target or a Walmart and you picked up a bottle of nail polish that was being sold retail, you could see all of the ingredients except for fragrance ingredients that are being used in that product listed on the label. Salon workers and their customers don't have that same right to information right now of what ingredients are being used in professional salon product. It does not have to be labeled. Harmful ingredients can also hide under the word fragrance. This is often found, like if you go into a retail store, you'll look at a label. It's not disclosed at all for salon products, but even for retail cosmetic products, there are no requirements for disclosure of fragrance ingredients. You'll just see a word that says fragrance, and that fragrance could mean, could represent dozens of chemicals, potentially harmful chemicals that are used in that fragrance composition. So that's kind of the what we're dealing with, and what we are trying to, when we talk about advancing worker health and safety, one of the ways to do that, one of the ways is to advocate for stronger policies, health protective policies for workers, and for making sure that ingredients that are used in these products are safe. And over the years, Women's Voices for the Earth has published several resources to highlight the problem of harmful chemicals in professional salon products. Most recently, I think this was 2000, oh gosh, I think that might say 2014. I'm trying to remember when we released that. It didn't seem like it was that long ago, but Beauty and its Beast is really documenting the health impacts that are resulting in the salon workforce as a result of toxic chemicals used in these products. We also have released Glossed Over a long time ago that looked at toxic trio used in nail polish and various other reports. So really trying to document what kind of chemicals are being used on salon products that we need to be concerned about, and what are those potential health impacts. So some of you who are on this in this space today may recognize yourself in some of these photos. I see Jan in one of them, and two, and Lisa. But we really recognized, along with the California Healthy Nail Salon Collaborative, and at the time the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum, we recognized the need to connect efforts around the country of other folks who are working to advance salon worker health and safety. And that's why we co-founded the National Healthy Nail and Beauty Salon Alliance. We operate a listserv that many of you may be on, where we try to connect efforts of what's happening around the country, share information, share resources, and also hold 1 or 2 membership calls a year on different topics related to salon worker health and safety. And if you're interested, if you're not on that listserv, but you're interested in joining, you can, I'll type my email address in the chat, and you can reach out to me and I will add you. But over the years, since we've had the National Healthy Nail and Beauty Salon Alliance, we've done a number of things to raise the visibility of issues facing nail and hair salon workers. We organized a Healthy Salon Week of Action in Washington, D.C., which included a presentation at the National Environmental Justice Advisory Council. We had a meeting, we've held meetings with the Interagency Work Group for Salon Worker Health and Safety, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second. And we had salon workers. You can see a salon worker in the corner here, Jennifer Arce, testifying in front of members of the Interagency Work Group about the health impacts that she has suffered as a result of using hair straightening treatments containing formaldehyde. We also held congressional briefings on salon worker health and safety. In fact, this picture back here, you could see the group where we're holding up the National Healthy Nail and Salon Alliance sign. That is from a congressional briefing we did, where nail salon workers testified about some of their concerns with being exposed to harmful chemicals in the workplace. And I mentioned that we operate a national listserv. We also, here's a picture of in front of the Rayburn building in Washington, D.C., where we have done a few different trips to do lobby visits to support stronger support the introduction of legislation that would create stronger laws over what's allowed, what kind of chemicals are allowed to be used in these products. And so over the years, there has been progress. We have had wins collectively. This is a collective we. None of this would have happened without the involvement of many groups that are on the call today. And also, of course, the nail and hair salon workers that advocated for the passage of some of these policies. So we successfully, along with Black Women for Wellness and the California Healthy Nail Salon Collaborative and Breast Cancer Prevention Partners, passed AB 2775 in California, which is now law. That's the first law in the nation that requires disclosure of ingredients in professional salon products directly on the label. So now in California, you should be able to go into a beauty supply store, look at that product, and those ingredients should be listed with the exception of fragrance. And in fact, our groups, Black Women for Wellness and the California Healthy Nail Salon Collaborative, we're actually doing some research right now where we're going to be working with salon workers to go into beauty supply stores and their salon, take pictures of labels. So one, we can assess whether there are salon product manufacturers are complying with the law, and two, analyze what is being disclosed on labels now that manufacturers are required to disclose ingredients, and identify any chemicals, harmful chemicals that are now being disclosed in products, salon products that we didn't know about before because of the lack of disclosure. And we hope to release that report early next year. Also part of that report is going to be looking as a result of California SB 312, or the Fragrance and Flavors Right to Know Act, which Black Women for Wellness and the California Healthy Nail Salon Collaborative and Breast Cancer Prevention Partners all work to pass. Also the first law in the nation that requires disclosure of fragrance and flavor ingredients to the state of California, their Safe Cosmetics program. So they have a publicly searchable database where you should be able to find disclosure of harmful fragrance ingredients in salon products in that database. We're also going to be doing an analysis of that database and include that analysis in the report that we release early next year. Women's Voices for the Earth worked with Environmental Working Group to file a citizens petition with the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. The Food and Drug Administration is the federal agency that has oversight over cosmetic and professional salon products. And what we're asking the agency, that petition, and that's the name that they use for the petition. That petition has asked the agency to ban the use of formaldehyde in hair straighteners. And that was, we submitted that along with over 60 salon workers whose health has been impacted from the use of formaldehyde in hair straighteners. The FDA is currently reviewing for the use of formaldehyde in hair straighteners. And we hope that sometime within the next year, we will know whether the agency plans to take action on banning this carcinogen from products. Lastly, one of kind of the notable things the National Healthy Nail and Hair Salon Alliance did was we partnered, this was under the President Obama's administration. There was the White House Initiative for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. We formed this interagency work group, or IWG, that included, that was specifically on nail salon worker health and safety, or salon worker health and safety. And it comprised of the different agencies on the federal level that have some sort of oversight over this industry. So you have the EPA, OSHA, FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and NIOSH. And really the intention of the the interagency working group was to coordinate all of the agencies' work to advance salon worker health and safety and rights. And what we did is the Alliance, the National Healthy Nail and Beauty Salon Alliance, created a list of recommendations, what we would like to see the agencies do in order to advance safety in this sector. And we had a few good steps forward as a result of those recommendations. The FDA issued warning letters to the makers of Brazilian Blowout about high levels of formaldehyde and improper labeling. They also, OSHA issued a national hazard alert to salons about the dangers of hair straightening products containing formaldehyde. And we also just met regularly with the interagency work group to update them on, what was happening in salons and what were the concerns of salon workers. Unfortunately, when the next administration came in, the IWG was disbanded, but just felt like it was important to mention here because of the history. So lastly, it's like, where do we go from here? And on the policy front, we've had some great wins and we should celebrate those. And these wins really lay the foundation for federal policy. And I think it's on day 3, we're going to be talking about different pieces of legislation as part of the Safer Beauty Bills package that have been introduced that would make this industry safer, and that would require that, the elimination of harmful ingredients in professional salon products, among other things. So we'll be talking about that, but that's kind of the next step. And I'll just close with, and I said it before, but, none of this would be possible without salon workers and owners raising their voice. That makes all the difference when we talk to policymakers. They don't, I work for an organization, I'm affiliated with an organization, but when you hear directly from a salon worker, how this has impacted their life and their health, it's moving, and we wouldn't be able to have these wins that we've had in California without their involvement. So I'm just going to stop there, and it's great to be here, and I look forward to the next few days.
Thank you, Jamie, for sharing about the background on the policy work that has been happening. And thank you to all of our speakers for the opening panel, to Jan, Preeti, Saba, and Jamie. We will be starting the next session shortly, and thank you for your patience as we quickly start to transition and prepare for that. After the next panel, we'll also have a break. So, Alicia, just give me the word when you're ready to go. I can make a quick announcement while we're waiting. We just, in appreciation for everyone who registered to attend this convening, we actually will be emailing y'all a $30 DoorDash gift card so that you can enjoy some lunch on us. So that's just a quick appreciation for your time. We obviously wish that this event could be held in person, and just because of COVID, it's just been such a struggle. And so this is just a small appreciation for all of your participation and attendance. Okay, and we are ready to go to session 2. So this next session is called Nail Salon Chemical Exposures and Toxicology. So we'll focus on nail products, and we're going to be reviewing chemicals that have been phased out and new emerging chemicals in the market, highlighting the exposure and chemicals that increase health risks. Our speakers include LaDawn Kendall from Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, Dr. Brian Pavlonis from City University of New York School of Public Health, and Dr. Lupita Montoya at University of Colorado Boulder. And please note that we will be having Q&A at the end of this panel, so feel free to ask questions throughout the program using the chat box. You could also save your questions at the end to ask via video at the end of the session. If you do ask a question in the chat, please start off with the Q:, so that we can track which questions to present to the panelists. Now, without further ado, I will pass it over to LaDawn.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Let me just get my screen shared. Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so hi, I'm LaDawn Kendall. I'm going to be presenting on the research I did as a grad student at UC Berkeley and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory on gel nail polish. This work was done with the help of my colleague Kelsey Ranjbar and Marion Russell from Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. My thesis advisor from Berkeley was Catherine Hammond, and my advisor from LBNL is Randy Madalena. So gel nail polish is, at the time I was starting this study, it was super popular. That was around 2018, super popular. I don't even think dip was really a thing back then. And I personally just really liked getting my nails done, both at home. I had a home kit, and I would also go to salons pretty often to get my nails done. And gel is really popular just because it adds a lot of strength to the nails. It's applied as a liquid polish, and then you dry it under UV light and it forms this hard shell. It lasts a lot longer than the traditional nail manicure compared to evaporated nail polish. And at the time that I was starting this study, I noticed that there was quite a bit of research done on general volatile organic compounds released in nail salons and from traditional nail polish, but not much had been done to look directly at gel nail polish. And I mean, it's clear that there's a chemical reaction going on there when you apply it as a liquid and it dries as solid. So I basically just wanted to investigate to see what's going on during this manicure process and see if there's any just try to establish a chemical profile for a gel manicure. So all the sampling was conducted at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. I built this chamber that you could see in the photo and tried to mimic exactly what's done in the salon. I set the ventilation rate inside the salon, inside the chamber, to be similar to that of a salon with an open door and windows. And we purchased these tiny nail sticks, and we would just paint 10 of them, just try to make it as close to a manicure as possible. The manicure process for the purpose of this study was a coat of primer, 1 coat of base coat, 2 coats of color, and then a top coat. And we did 6 different colors. I tried to collect nail polishes from salon donations. I bought a couple online, and then I also bought a few in the store just to try to get a diverse variety of sources, trying to capture maybe if there's a difference between salon products versus consumer products. And so for the sampling, we actually measured the concentration of volatile organic compounds between 21 to 240 grams per mole. And the white box attached to the chamber in the photo, that's a proton transfer reaction mass spectrometer. So that one, it's really, really sensitive, and it reports all the concentrations, but it doesn't tell us the identity of the chemicals. So We just conducted the study and then we verified all of what we were seeing from the proton transfer reactor to gas chromatography. So that was our way of kind of playing match up of what we see from that machine and then validating it through GC. So overall, the highest concentrations we saw were for isopropyl alcohol and ethyl acetate, and then another chemical that's still unknown. It has a molecular weight of 42, but we weren't really able to identify that. The PTRMS does have some fragmentation, which means that larger chemicals can break off into smaller ones, and this unknown chemical is likely a fragmented chemical. And so altogether, those three ions, isopropyl alcohol, unknown mass 42, and then ethyl acetate made up 87% of the total mass of all VOCs observed. We did see increased concentrations of formaldehyde, benzene, acetaldehyde, methyl methacrylate, and isopropyl alcohol, and toluene and methacrylic acid, among many others. What was really important about this study was kind of just the way in which the chemicals appeared. So I pulled out two specific graphs. So the way that we designed the study, it was easy to kind of track the emission patterns. And on top here, we have formaldehyde, and we could see that it's emitted pretty gradually during the painting process and then reaches a peak toward the end of the paint. So we see that formaldehyde likely isn't present in the primer, but it is present, likely being released during the nail drying process. And formaldehyde wasn't listed on any of the safety data sheets, so it's highly likely that it is being released secondarily during the nail drying process. And we can contrast that with acetaldehyde, which is, we see a peak really suddenly at the primer phase, and then it kind of just gradually exits the chamber after that. And that suggests that acetaldehyde is likely a factor mostly in the primer and not so much in the paint products. So with all the data we collected, I also did an exposure assessment model using the near field far field model. I think it was coined by Mark Nickus from UC Berkeley. And basically with this model, you imagine a certain area to be the near field. That's where all the exposure is really happening. That's like the source of the exposure. So for this study, we just imagined kind of an 8-inch semisphere on the table, which is where the manicure is occurring. And the 8 inches away is supposed to be kind of like the breathing zone of the nail technician or whoever's doing the nails. And the far field is represented by basically just the salon, a salon with open doors and windows. So we applied some assumptions based on data I collected from just looking online, and the UCLA nail files documentary was, the document was also really helpful for this. And basically with this one, we found that none of the results exceeded any of the Cal OSHA permissible exposure limits. The OEHA acute recommended exposure limit for isopropyl alcohol was exceeded, and the 8-hour recommended exposure limit for acetaldehyde got pretty close to the limit of 0.3 milligrams per meter cubed. And we also found that a higher air change rate in the salon, like having increased ventilation, opening doors and windows, that helps a lot with reducing concentrations in the far field or the salon, but it doesn't really do much to help with concentration in the near field. So this suggests that really the most helpful way to reduce salon exposures would be local exhaust ventilation placed directly where the manicure is happening to kind of soak up all of those breathing zone exposures. And another thing that I want to note is that these findings don't indicate that the air in salons can be considered safe. As we know, there's so many different products being used in nail salons. There's very little regulation about what's in them. And oftentimes there's a high number of people doing the work at the same time. And it's really hard to say what the ventilation rate is like. Sometimes they don't open doors and windows. Sometimes they are very small salons and everyone's working close to each other. So some of the limitations of the study, it was done in the lab, and like I mentioned, it's kind of hard to replicate exactly what's going on in the salon, but we did our best. And a lot of the ions that we detected with the PTRMS couldn't be definitively defined by GC. This was kind of just due to different lab limitations. This was all work that I did kind of opportunistically, because since I was already working in the lab, I just kind of asked them if I could use this instrumentation to conduct my experiment. And so the gas chromatograph that we used was really better suited for semi-volatile organic compounds. So the lower molecular weight ones, the higher volatility ones were pretty hard to identify. And another thing is I realized after that I really should have looked at the primer and the top and base coat each separately. I just did it straight as though it would be conducted as a salon, just because I wanted to get a good picture of what's happening during a manicure. But we could have benefited from more data about each product individual. So what does this all mean? Toluene, formaldehyde, benzene, and methyl methacrylate, those are four big chemicals that they obviously have really severe health impacts, and they have been measured in nail salons, but I didn't expect to find any of them in gel nail polish since none of them were listed in any of the safety data sheets. And under OSHA hazard communication standards, carcinogens, reproductive toxicants, sensitizers, they would all need to be disclosed in the safety data sheets if they're in the original formulation of the product. So this brings up kind of a possible loophole where these chemicals, they might be formed secondarily, or they might have been unintentionally added where they would be classified as an incidental ingredient and thus would not need to be disclosed. And benzene and formaldehyde are both known human carcinogens. Toluene is a reproductive toxicant, and then methyl methacrylate has been banned since 1974, I think. So some of the future directions, I'd really like to go back and identify all the remaining chemicals. We have so much data on concentrations, we just can't identify what they are just because of the lab limitations. And we need more studies in nail salons to be just to help us get a better understanding of what's going on. And as always, advocating for more ventilation, PPE, warning labels, getting the support of regulatory agencies to help develop strategies and reduce chemical exposures. Really the best way is education-based training for both workers and owners. And I think outreach programs should really focus on the benefits of reducing these exposures rather than on workplace violations and penalties. Thank you all so much. I don't know if we're doing questions at the end or right now, but I'm happy to take some questions.